So, a game's journal is calling for optional profanity filters in video games. So, journalist Chris Scullion is urging developers to add optional profanity filters like bleeps, censored subtitles for games like South of Midnight and Avowed. And look, the games that he's talking about are M-rated games. They have violence, gore, and dark themes like the whole package. But apparently, swearing is what we need to protect people from. Now, this tweet did explode, and the discourse is kind of split. There's a large group of people saying that this is ridiculous, but there's also a smaller group that's actually kind of supportive. And I think it is worth looking at both sides, and I'll tell you where I land. Now, before we get into the backlash, let me steelman the profiles aside for a second. The argument would be, let's say I'm a parent, I want to play God of War while my kids are doing their homework, and I don't want to wait until 10 p.m. or something along those lines. Some games already have gore toggles, so why not language? Or let's say I'm a streamer and I don't want to get demonetized for profanity. An optional filter would let me play the game without constantly muting or bleeping. And look, if it's optional, what's the harm? You want uncensored, you get it. You want clean, you can flip the toggle. This is player choice. Why should that be a problem? But then this is where I would push back. Always remember, optional doesn't stay optional. We've seen this before. Accessibility features start as options and then they become expectations. And once this happens, developers aren't making the game that they want to. They're designing it around the specific filter. You start self-censoring during writing because you know there's going to be a clean mode, and that changes the whole creative process. It's no longer raw, it's no longer unfiltered, it's safe. Second, this would cost more time and money. You need alternative voice lines for every swear word now, or you would just slap an AI dubbing over it, and that would sound terrible. The thing is, we've already kind of touched the subject before in the past about AI localization, and we've seen the examples. It's not that great. Or you just have to bleep everything out, and that would break immersion. Third, the third one really bugs me a lot. Profanity isn't just thrown randomly. When it's done right, it's deliberate. It's the character's tone, it's world building, it's realism, it's that emotional punch. If a character is in a life or death situation and they say something like, oh no, that's unfortunate, that's not real, that's sanitized, that's fake. And yeah, profanity can be overused. Bad writers just throw F bombs because they don't know how to make dialogue, or they don't know how to make a character sound edgy otherwise. But that's a writing problem. It's not a profanity problem. All right, and now the louder side. Let's see what he has to say. This is exactly what you say when you're about to drop the worst take possible. Games have rating labels for a reason. Stop trying to turn the world into a padded room. And here's another. I, a Christian, couldn't care less about vulgarity in video games. Why? Because I'm an adult and I can handle it. Chris Scullion sounds soft, or this is another absurd reach for control. Okay, so the argument here is simple. The game is rated M. It says mature on the box. If you can't handle it, then don't buy it. And honestly, I agree with this. If you are a parent and if you don't want your kids exposed to profanity, then don't let them play M-rated games or don't play those games around them. The rating system exists for a reason. And let's say if you're a Christian and you are uncomfortable with profanity, that's also fine, but that's your boundary to enforce. Don't ask developers to change their vision or their version of the game to accommodate you. And look, I get that the journal is asking for an optional feature, an optional filter, not a mandatory one. But the problem is, once you open that door, it doesn't stay optional. Publishers would see this and think, hey, maybe we can market this as family friendly and being edgy at the same time. And then suddenly, developers are being encouraged to build games with this filter in mind from the start. It's no longer, how do I say this, creative freedom. It's more creative compromise. And then there's this take. In that case, can we have woke stuff optional as as well instead of shoving it down our throats? Now, I'm not touching the woke debate right now, but this tweet does prove my points. Once you start adding optional filters for content people find offensive or people don't like, then where will it stop? Because optional profanity filters become optional, let's say, violence filter, or maybe optional political themes filter, or optional everything filter. At that point, you're not making a game, you're making a build a bear workshop where everyone customizes their own sanitized version, straying far from the developer's vision. So, where do I stand? I stand firmly on the side of creative freedom. If a dev wants to make a game that is raw and unfiltered, then that's their choice. That's their vision. And that's the game that I want to experience the way that they intended. Not a watered down version, not a cleaned up version for, let's say, the broader appeal, the real thing. And yeah, I do get some people are uncomfortable with profanity. I do get that some parents want to play while their kids are in the room. And I do get that streamers don't want to get demonetized. I get all of that. But here's the thing, the game is rated M at the end of the day. If you can't handle M rated content, then don't play M rated games. Or wait until your kids go to bed, or mute the audio, or find a different hobby. Don't ask devs to compromise their vision because of your convenience. And because once we start down this road, once optional becomes expected, creative freedom dies, and we end up with games that are designed to offend no one, and those are the games that satisfy no one. So that's my take. Optional profanity filters, huge pause, but I do say let devs make what they want, let them be raw, let them be unfiltered, and if you don't like it, then don't play it. But then again, I could be wrong. Optional filters, they could be, let's say, harmless accommodation. I still think it's a slippery slope, but anyway, I want if you guys do like what we're doing here, please consider leaving a like or subscribing. And thank you for your time.